For centuries, the world was told that Africa had no history, no great cities, no advanced civilizations, but hidden deep in its lands were empires so powerful, so advanced, that when Europeans first saw them, they were left in shock. In the 15th century, Portuguese explorers sailed to the West African coast. They expected to find chaos, small villages, scattered tribes, nothing more, but instead, they entered a city that rivaled the greatest in Europe, Benin City. Here were wide streets, massive walls, and a palace unlike anything they had ever seen, and within it, treasures that would shake their understanding of Africa forever. The palace walls were lined with bronzes, thousands of plaques and sculptures so detailed, so sophisticated, that the Europeans could hardly believe their eyes. These were not simple works of art, they were records of kings, warriors, and battles. They told the story of a kingdom rich in culture, order, and power. And yet many Europeans refused to believe that Africans had made them. They claimed the bronzes must have been created by ancient Greeks, or Egyptians, or some lost civilization, anything but Africa itself. Centuries later, in 1897, the British launched a brutal invasion of Benin. The city was burned, its people massacred, its treasures stolen. Thousands of bronzes were carried away, shipped off to London, Berlin, and Paris, and today, most still sit in European museums, far from the land that gave them life. But Benin was not the only African empire that stunned the world. Far to the south, in the land of today's Zimbabwe, stood another wonder, a stone city, built without mortar, standing tall for over 600 years. This was Great Zimbabwe. At its heart rose the Great Enclosure, a massive stone wall 11 meters high, stretching for hundreds of meters. No cement, no iron, just stone, carved and stacked with such precision that the walls still stand today. This was no small settlement. It was a thriving city of gold traders and merchants, linked to the world beyond Africa, through its gates past ivory, iron, and gold reaching as far as Persia, India, and even China. When Europeans discovered the ruins in the 19th century, they were stunned, and once again, they refused to believe Africans had built them. They invented myths, claiming Great Zimbabwe was the work of Phoenicians, Arabs, or even a lost biblical tribe, anything but the Shona people who had lived there for centuries. But archaeology told the truth. The city was African, the builders were African, and the greatness was African. Great Zimbabwe was the proud creation of the ancestors of today's Shona people. So why were these stories hidden? Why were these empires erased from the world's memory? The answer is simple. Colonial powers needed to justify their conquest of Africa. To them, Africa had to be portrayed as primitive, as empty, as waiting for civilization. The truth that Africa already had kingdoms and empires as advanced as anywhere in the world was buried. But history cannot be erased forever. The ruins of Great Zimbabwe still rise above the plains. The bronzes of Benin still speak through their silent faces, and together, they tell a story the world tried to forget. Africa was never without history.